Well, jury deliberations are also underway in a different case, this one the assault trial of actor Jonathan Majors. After both the prosecution and the defense delivered closing arguments yesterday, jurors will now decide whether or not the Marvel actor is guilty of assaulting his then-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. This comes after 2 weeks of clashing narratives from both sides in court and after evidence was presented, including video, audio, texts, and photos related to the alleged assault. Majors faces up to a year in prison if convicted. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky joining me now, along with legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmire. So, Aaron, just bring us up to speed from deliberations. What's the latest?
Deliberations just resumed this afternoon, Kira. The jury wanted to hear a couple of pieces of evidence. A 911 call that Jonathan Majors made the day after he allegedly assaulted Grace Jabari. They wanted to see some of the surveillance video from how the two interacted after the alleged assault inside an SUV. There's surveillance video that captured them outside where he's hoisting her up and shoving her back in the car, and then he takes off, she gives chase. And they also wanted to read back from the judge his instructions about the charges themselves. Jonathan Majors faces 4 counts, 2 assault, 2 harassment charges, and the jury wanted clarity on what each of those means and what they need to find in order to either convict or acquit him.
Wow, it's pretty powerful to see the actual images there, just looking at the video. Brian, based on everything that, we've heard now and seen from both sides, do you think that the defense did a good job at making its case?
I think the defense did a great job when it came to raising reasonable doubt as to whether or not these injuries occurred inside of that SUV and not some other time when Grace Jabari was either at the nightclub where she spent hours with friends that she met on the street, or subsequently when she was home and potentially maybe fell due to alcohol consumption as well as sleeping pills. What I disagree with the defense's strategy here is I don't think this is about revenge by Grace Jabari. I don't think this is a race issue at all. I think this should be very easily boiled down to, if someone takes property from someone, what does the law allow that person to do? And we shouldn't be thinking about gender, because the law is genderless when it comes to, if a man takes something from a woman, that woman's allowed to use non-deadly force to take that item back, and the law should suggest that a man is allowed to use non-deadly force to do the same thing if a woman takes property from him.
So, Brian, considering Majors is facing misdemeanor charges of assault and aggravated harassment, what happens if he's found guilty?
So if he's found guilty, the judge will have to decide whether or not he's going to hold him over, meaning spend some time in Rikers pending sentencing. But that is highly, highly unlikely. Very few, if ever, does people actually go to prison for first-time assault of charges like this, misdemeanor assault. But he could face up to a year in prison. But the way that good time works here in New York, he could face up to 8 months in prison. But I think he'd probably get something around probation or a heavy amount of community service if, in fact, he is found guilty.
Aaron, Jonathan Majors was on his way to cementing his status as a Hollywood star. So what's at stake here, just in terms of his reputation and his future as an actor?
It's a good question, because a number of projects have been put on hold as a result of this domestic violence case, Kira. And he was on the cusp of superstardom. Loki and Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Wasp, all these Marvel characters that Jonathan Majors is associated with. That was all going to be taking off for him, and it's a little bit in question pending the outcome of this case. And there are other questions, too, because in addition to the guilt or innocence on the alleged assault of his ex-girlfriend, the jury and the public also heard about other instances when Jonathan Majors was either physically, emotionally, or verbally abusive. He hurled things at her, and the jury saw photos of smashed candles and other objects, and they heard audio of him imploring Grace Jabari to behave like Michelle Obama.
Aaron, Brian, we'll follow today's events and see if a decision is made. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.